Okay, so let's look at number 3. First of all, it does say radian mode, so we need to change our calculator real quick if it's not already there. We're going to press home 52 and change this to radian, and then move it to make it your default. Now let's press 4 for our current document, and here we go. When we save a function and we store a function, which I'm going to show you here in just a bit, the way we can delete all storage of functions is pressing menu, 1 for actions, and 4 for clearing A to Z. And then we'll press enter for OK. Then now to get a nice clean slate, we're going to press menu, 1 for actions, 5 for clear history. Now we have a cleared calculator pretty much in a clear storage. We're ready to rock and roll with number 3. Number 3 gives us this function of f of x. And it wants us to find f of 7. Now I know a lot of you are saying I could just plug that in and see what I would get using the table, using a graph, or just straight up doing it and plugging it into the calculator and see what I get to 3 decimal places. Well, something I want you to know is that you can store f of x. And the reason why you want to store f of x is because it helps you with other pieces of this that lead even all the way to junior or senior year AP Calculus, AP exam, if that's where you're headed. So I'm going to show you how to store all this right here as f of x. Here we go. So we'll go to our calculator and we'll go ahead and type in 5 plus 4 times cosine of control divide pi over 12. And now you have to put times in between each parentheses. It doesn't interpret that it automatically is multiplication. And the reason why it doesn't is because it can store things like f of x. Okay? So if it can store things like f of x, we know multiplication does not exist here. So that's why here we have to put multiplication, and here we have to put multiplication, showing explicitly where we want that multiplication to occur. Now pressing control, that nice blue button, and bars will store it. We just have to say that it's f of x. So now it's done, it's stored. So now if I want to know what's f of 7, I could just type in what's f of 7 and then control enter to give me a nice clean decimal. So 7.828 would be the answer here. So let's go back over here and say f of 7 is 7.828. Again, 3 decimal places, rounding or truncating to 3 decimal places is what we default to. Alright, so now using either the graphing calculator or the feature that I just showed you, we can set f of x equal to 7, and between 0 and 30 we're going to see how do we get that answer. Let me show you with the graphing calculator first. Alright, so graphing calculator. You may or may not already have a graphing calculator set up. If you don't, you're just going to press Control Dock to add a page. So it's up the top right hand corner. So it says Dock. So you're going to add a graphing calculator page by pressing 2. Now here, I already stored f of x. So you can retype it in if you want, or just type f of x and it will do 5 plus 4 cosine of whatever it is that you got. The other side is it's set equal to 7. So we want to actually put in our y2 value of 7. So pressing tab, we're just going to put 7, and here's the graph. We're going to see where do they intersect. Now it's hard to see where they intersect because it's off the page right now, but let me change the y showing. So menu, we're going to say window 4, 1 for settings, and we're going to say our y minimum is like from, let's say, -2 all the way to 8. Now you should be able to see where they're going to intersect. Okay? And you see them intersecting like up here. But we want to see where they're going to intersect between 0 and 30. So let's go back to the menu for window and 1 for window settings, and we're going to say explicitly from 0 to 30. So let me go a little bit more. Let's say -5 to 35. So now you can see there are 4 different places where these are actually going to intersect. Okay, but it said between and including 0. So it does look like there are 4 different places that this will actually happen. Alright, so let's go to the graph, and we're going to see when the intersections happen. So we're going to press menu, 6, and then 4 for intersection. And then let's scroll soft mouse left to this intersection here and press enter, or not enter, but that tab button in the center of the keypad, and we see that it existed at 0. So our first x value is going to be at 0. Let's keep looking for other values. Okay, so we'll do that again. Menu, 6 to analyze graph. Analyze the intersection by pressing 4. We're going to go just to the left of this intersection, soft key, or soft mouse, and then key inward, and then soft scrolling to the right to see that the other one exists at 8. So 8, because remember, we're looking for x values. Okay? And those points that are spitting out, you can see we're concentrating on those actual x values that you see here and here. So let's keep going. Alright, so menu, 6 to analyze graph, 4 for the intersection. We're going to soft mouse just to the left of this intersection, press inward, soft mouse over, and you see that the other one occurs at 24. Okay? So let's go ahead and do that real quick. The other one occurs at 24. Oops, wrong highlight. The other one occurs at 24, which we're going to write over here as 24. Now we just have to see that last one. Okay? Does the last one occur before 30 or at 30? So menu 6-4. We'll key in, scroll over to the right, and we see that it actually occurred at 32. So that one is not going to be inclusive because it's out of our range as far as we were trying to see between 0 and 30. Okay, so those 3 will be the only answers that you get. So let's box that in. Alright, so there's another way besides, that's with the graph. There's another way that you can do the solve feature. You're basically going to insolve, okay, and you're going to insolve where f of x, the stored function that we have, is equal to 7. We're going to tell the calculator to look for x, and then we're going to say from 0 all the way to 30. Now, a big reason why we can do this is because we learned from the other previous videos in this test review that we can use this feature for sine and cosine only. Not secant, not cosecant, and not even tangent or cotangent. We can only use it for sine and cosine because they're continuous functions. So let's go to our calculator and see how we can get all of these answers without using a graph. Control left to get back to my home page. Menu 3-6, and we would say, when does f of x equal this 7 that they proposed? Comma x, because that's what we're looking for, comma from 0, comma to 30. And the first answer that you see is in fact 0. So I will go up and say, maybe there's more answers. So let's not try 0 to 30, let's try a little bit greater than the answer that they gave us. We're going to say something a little bit bigger than 0. So we'll say 1. 1 to 30. You see 8. And now we want something bigger than 8. Let's go integer jumps. Let's say 9. Okay, so from 9 to 30 we get 24. Okay, so now you're starting to see the pattern as far as how you can use the calculator to get these answers fairly quickly. So let's try something a little bit bigger than 24. Let's say 25. And maybe there exists something? No, there does not. So 0, 8, and 24 would in fact be your answers, which we got easily when we were doing the graph from before. It just took longer. The way we did it just now with the solve feature is much, much faster, and they still give you the correct answers. Okay.